Hi, good afternoon. Well, today I'm joined by Bill Boorman. Bill Boorman, as we all know, is the founder of True Mutiny and the True franchise, global phenomenon.
True Munity, although I think True
global phenomenon.
True Munity, although I think True Mutiny is probably quite a good description, to be
Mutiny.
fair. Yeah.
So, what was the original concept behind True Mutiny or the True movement when you founded it?
So, we started True really was only ever going to be one event.
Yeah.
In London, and we're now 10 years in. We've got a 10-year anniversary on November the 7th.
Yeah.
In Brick Lane. Tickets are available on truemunity.com.
Yeah.
I think the original idea was just at the beginning of social media. So you imagine, it's hard to imagine, that it was only 10 years ago, but a lot of us were disconnected. We'd never met in person and stuff like that. When we started to find new people on Twitter, really was the channel at that time. Facebook was still very much a personal channel. LinkedIn was there to some degree. The features weren't really there for any scalable networking beyond groups. And what we were able to do is, as we were, the more that we were connecting and tweeting with each other, the more you felt the need to meet the people who you were engaging with online.
Yeah.
So I just decided to run an unconference. We decided, actually, I was speaking at an event in Canada called Recruit Fest.
Yeah.
Not Rec Fest, but Recruit Fest, right back in the beginning of time. And it was about 150 people, and there was lots of people that we met for the first time, like Jerry Albright and Jerry Crispy and John Sumser, right?
Yeah,
so lots of people.
Yeah.
So we all met for the first time. We were all super excited. We were all talking about social media, but none of us had a user case. So we were just, we think we'll do this with Twitter, or we think we'll do this with LinkedIn. And I was talking about candidate experience, which was a brand new concept for a lot of people. And it was very, very noisy and very hot because there were 6 sessions going on at the same time.
Yeah.
And I just said, look, I'm just going to go sit under the tree outside in the courtyard. Anyone who wants to come out. And obviously, because I went outside, I couldn't have any presentations. There was no PowerPoint or anything like that.
Yeah.
And it ended up that I had half of the conference sitting outside under the tree and just talking. And I just thought, this is kind of cool. I want to turn this into a thing. So we did it in what was supposed to be one event. We're now, I don't know, 650, 700 events or something.
Over the 10 years? Around the world?
All around the world. Yeah. It's open source, so anyone who wants to run an event can just run one. There's no license, We try and help. We ask you to respect the principles, which is kind of no PowerPoint, no name badges, that kind of stuff. And that everyone's welcome. It's not for a particular... We're talking about inclusion.
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
We don't operate occupational apartheid, so it isn't... no consultants or no vendors or it's everyone.
Just everyone's welcome.
Yeah.
Because we met, probably 18 months ago now, didn't we?
Yeah, at True London. At True London, you came and did a session, and we were always trying to, and it's actually quite hard when I look back to think that was only 18 months ago, because I feel like even in our bubble, if you like, in our world, in the recruiting world, I feel like we've come quite a long way, certainly in terms of awareness and some actions that some people are taking significantly in the last 18 months from when I first met you. And I think you've been one of the major drivers of that. And we've looked at our events, and we've increased awareness and drive around a whole range of issues, everything from trans, deaf,
autism,
whatever it is. I think more people have an appetite, and I'll tell you what I think's missing, which is what I'm learning from a lot of the sessions I'm doing, a lot of stuff that I'm doing. What I'm seeing missing is not that the will isn't there to do something better, and let's just forget about the business case, let's forget about the legal case, let's forget about numbers, let's forget about all that stuff. There's business reasons for all of that, but let's forget all that stuff and say, actually, morally, I think most people want to do the right thing by people. They just don't know what the right thing is.
Haven't got the tools in the toolbox to know where to start.
Yeah, and we're getting more things coming at us. So 40% of young people in school have been diagnosed with some kind of requirement for mental health support.
ADHD or neurodiversity,
neurodiversity, depression, anxiety, pressures of life, really, modern life.
It's hard being a young kid these days, or a young guy.
So more people are going to be coming into the workforce in which mental health is going to have to be a big consideration for the workforce.
Yeah.
So I think more people are kind of going, I need to, I just don't know what, I want to do the right thing, I just don't know what the right thing is. So more people are looking for points of reference to talk to.
Because we expect our leaders, our managers, our supervisors to have the skills, but often they've grown up in a world where inclusion wasn't top of the list. They didn't know about inclusive motivation, so different people are motivated in different ways, different people want to communicate in different ways, people have hidden anxieties, and people just don't know how to create.
They didn't want to say it, so I think there's a few things that I've really picked up. So one was from Winston Clements when we were at Unleash, and you were on the same panel, and something Winston said, which actually resonated with all four of the panel, which was Winston, Frankie, my son, Lisa all up with Inca. You include Inca in the panel, her listening dog, and Winston. And Winston was talking about not wanting to be the awkward candidate. Or, yes, companies are willing to make exceptions for me, but I don't want to
end up covering
give them, I'm worried that I'm giving them another reason not to hire me, or I'm putting another barrier in the way when I'm already in a nervous situation of looking for a job, right? Which is bad enough for anyone. That is stressful enough for anyone without then having to think about, when do I tell them I'm arriving in a wheelchair? How do I deal with this?
When do I let them know I'm trans?
When do I let them know I'm trans? Do I tell them before? Is that the right way to do it? Is that going to create a problem? Is that going to make me look like a problem if I say to them, if you ring them and say, oh, by the way, I'm trans and da-da-da, is that going to make them think, oh, you're going to be, it's going to create a problem in the process, how do we deal with it?
We wouldn't hire you anyway, sort of thing. Or then
they would definitely have the interview, but it could be an hour of meaningless conversation.
Are we done?
Thank you, we'll let you know, kind of thing, to make sure that they don't get sued, right? Which is a motivation for some people. So what I've learned in all this is also from people's point of view, something that I read, I talked to Winston and other people about it, and I'm pretty sure the number wouldn't be massively different if we went into the trans community. 70% of people won't talk to someone disabled in a wheelchair, and actually because they're worried about saying the wrong thing, not because they're going, oh, I've got a massive prejudice or bias, because they're going, I think I'm going to say the wrong thing. So I think
do I lean over? Do I crouch down? How do I have this conversation?
So if I look at what I think you've done a great job of, starting with it, you've been involved in a number of true events, not just London, but others, and now you're running inclusion. Is choose the right kind of environment where people can ask kind of uncomfortable questions that they wouldn't want to ask, but they would want to know the answer. How do I deal with this? What do I do about bathrooms? What do I, however, not from a moral point of view, but if you're an HR recruiter, whatever it is, you're going like, I actually really want someone that's accessible, where I'm comfortable enough to say, actually, this might sound, is this a bad question? Is that the wrong thing?
It's comfortable having those uncomfortable questions.
I mean, the big one that I get in conversations that I get in with people is around pronouns and they. Lots of people said to me, I'm really uncomfortable with they from a point of view of
singular, it's supposed to be
singular, plural, where's it supposed to be, right? So what am I supposed to do? And something that I learned actually from some friends of my children who you've met, who were having a conversation in my garden one Friday night, and it was kind of one of those light bulb, life-changing moments in terms of your attitude. And they were talking about being trans. They're both trans boys, similar age, 21, starting university life, all these kind of things. And the conversation went along the line of, I thought I was, as I was growing up, I felt that I was different, and then I felt that I was a butch lesbian because that's the box that I fitted in my knowledge. And then when I got a bit older and discovered about trans, it made a lot of sense to me. So what I'm saying to a lot of people, which people are beginning to say, right, I get that, and actually some quite progressive people, so not people being anti, you're saying, but people say to me, well, why do people need labels? Why do we need this? I'm actually saying, it's not for me. It's not for me to understand. Although it can help me understand some
stuff. People will have their own labels. They have their own identity.
It's for where... It's to let people understand where they belong, where they fit in, and where they want to go, right?
Well, be part of a tribe, be part of a community, be part
of
some belonging in
whatever
society.
You want to be. I mean, it's, the first leaflet I got when my kids went to Q Space, which is a LGBTQI plus friendly space in Northampton, and it felt like it was 100-page instruction booklet about pronouns and genders and what does this mean and what does that mean. But it was invaluable in the beginning, not actually to learn stuff. It wasn't like read the book at night before you go to bed and learn the rules. It was a really useful discussion point to say, actually I have no idea what intersex is, or I have no idea what, or how would you deal with that then, or
so
where
how
would
do you have a safe space conversation where people are happy to share
lots
about
of
them, share about you, tell me something about you, I tell you something about me, and have these conversations.
Lots of things. So I think the more I hate to use the term normal because of the connotations it has. But I think the more people meet people and go, oh, that's a normal thing.
It's a person.
It's a person. You know.
That's right.
And if people meet you and make a judgment, if they think you're an arse, that's based on the fact that they think you're an arse. It's not based on the fact that you're trans. It's based on the fact that you go, I don't really like Joe. Why don't you like Joe? Well, because I don't like someone who's this or that. Not. So and that's also perfectly fine. I'm saying to people, you don't have to like everyone.
We don't have to agree with everyone.
You don't have to agree with everyone. You can disagree with stuff. But it's so, and colour is a big one on that. So I've had big discussions around people who say, I don't see colour.
That's completely
because they're trying to do the right thing. And I'm going, of course I see colour. Of course I see...
I see your gender, I see your colour, I see your faith, I see your...
Sometimes I see it. I'm also aware there's lots of invisible stuff.
Because it matters to that person about their culture, about their lived experience. And I think if you deny them expressing themselves, that way you're forced them to conform to your
I think
sense.
the way that you always explain about your voice and saying I'm quite happy with it, I'm all right with it. That's
my voice.
One bit I don't feel the need to change or want to change particularly. But it's something that, particularly when you're non-visual, if you're on the phone or something, that confuses people.
It does create a problem,
or can create a bit of a barrier. And I think it's when people get to see those kind of things and understand what goes on and understand what happens for people, the more it becomes easier. It becomes easier, and it becomes easier to have points of contact. So the more that you're doing it true in a place like that, the more accessible you become to people. I think my biggest challenge, and the biggest challenge we face with true inclusion, which is the big shout out I want to make on this video, is it's great to get D&I people there, right? Yeah. They're already the choir.
Oh, completely.
They're already choir.
I know.
So, and hopefully they're all doing it for moral reasons, but also they're going to be doing things for data or statistics or whatever it is, or what's happening in my organisation. And that's great. But our rank and file recruiters, rank and file HR people, that's the people I want to go.
It's almost the people who aren't in the room that I'd like to have the conversation
right.
with.
So D&I is we can give you a bit more information. We can provide you with a useful event. But I'm really calling out to say, just if you're working as a recruiter and one of your colleagues came in next week and said, actually, there's something I've got to tell you. How would you deal with that? What would you do, right? And probably, unless you're an arse, you would want to do the right thing. You just wouldn't know what that right thing is.
A big announcement. It can be, I'm really struggling with my mental health. I'm really struggling
whatever
with my childcare. My father's sick. I need to stay at home and look after my father.
Whatever it is.
Whatever it may be.
So I think inclusion is when we're all talking about it. Diversity almost becomes irrelevant because we always have we're diverse in what we're doing, right? And we're going to have to force some of that stuff through, whether that's through supply chain, the way that we work, the way that we source. We're going to have to really force that, particularly as we go into a data space. But I think we need to have these conversations. So I think true inclusion is for everyone.
Completely. And it's not just about hiring. It's not just about HR. This is about people who want to change, people who want to drive change, people who want the tools or be able to learn how to have conversations?
I think just meet people.
I agree.
Meet people who are autistic, meet people who are in a wheelchair, meet people who
I just
are
hosted
comfortable
a
to
session
talk
here
about mental
at
health.
this True Innovation, this Group Innovation Conference, and we just sat around on a sofa under the tree, pulled up a chair under the tree, and we just had a chat. And what I was trying to do is get people used to being vulnerable, sharing about some of their anxieties, sharing about how they would like to change their organisations. And to me, inclusion is not about worrying about 9 protected characteristics. It's not about that kind of inclusion. It's about inclusion.
And that's why we don't want the conversation to be totally D&I, because then it becomes
about people,
9 protected categories.
I mean, as you know, one of the reasons I wanted to host this event was I wanted to turn it inside out. So it wasn't about recruitment, it wasn't about talent acquisition, it was about more than that. It was about people, where talent acquisition can get involved, HR can get involved, marketing, inclusive leadership, and be able to understand how the data works and how we can get some insights on that data.
Yeah, I mean, you know that my dream and my vision of what I'm working on for next year is that we're going to run a conference or an unconference, whatever that event is. And we have lots of people from very diverse backgrounds. Actually not. So, I'd love to have you, as great as you do it, I'd love to have you not talking about inclusion. I'd love to have you talking about marketing.
Something else.
Something like that, right? Accounts, whatever it is.
How I founded a business.
Whatever you're good at, right? And not just you, but people who are visibly in wheelchairs or whatever it is, delivering straightforward business, and nobody's going, oh wow, is it?
And as we've had this conversation many times, it's like the non-typical person ends up being a champion for their characteristic. I mean,
and it's good that you're there because you need that in the shop window. But I would like to get to the point.
Can we move on, please? I'm Joe. I'm trans, but I don't always be Joe.
Actually, I want to talk to you about marketing or how I started my business or being an entrepreneur or doing that kind of stuff, right?
Exactly.
And that's what I want to. That's really where I want to get to, and that's where I'm hoping True Inclusion could bridge some of that gap. And I'm hoping some of the people we meet through True Inclusion, track leaders, we can actually say, "What do you actually do?" And they can go, "Oh, I'm a software developer." Right?
I'm
can you go? Let's get you speaking at a software conference about software development. Let's do that.
Well, I'm specifically targeting True Inclusion to be not about your characteristic. It's not about you. It's about how we bring change into organisations, so that it doesn't matter who you are or what you have.
I think that's the big thing. Grace Petrie, who's singing at True London, is a musician that I like. She's a protest singer, a very good protest singer. And one of the things she sings and talks about, which really struck me, was when she talked about, she was going, gender stereotypes is not an LGBTIQ thing. No. She said gender stereotypes screw everyone up. She said how many guys get screwed up by what a man is.
Oh, the gender box. Act like a man box. They act like a woman box.
Act like a man. Don't be a girl. Who's in pink, who's in blue, right? Yeah. So how many? So all of the I think one of the things that become apparent over time is all of the issues when we look into particular groups are the issues of everyone. Like everyone screwed up in some way about that, or had some issue with that, or some stress with that. So I think if we could just get everything back, if we could just get together and.
But it's about mixing people, because to me, we have so many gender networks, we have so many BAME networks and LGBT networks, and it's about having allies in the room. It's about having amplification.
Yeah.
We're not going to change gender equality without involving.
I think whenever we bring the people together, and it might be talking about mental health and depression, it might be talking about anxiety, it might be talking about trans, it might be talking about being gay, it might be talking about being young, it might be talking about class and social mobility.
Well, people have so many anxieties about
but actually
themselves.
80% of our conversation is exactly the same.
You just swap out the characteristic and
80% of our conversation is around the issues that characteristic causes you, or how you feel, how it impacts you, or how people have worked against you or made life difficult. 20% is unique to your particular thing. That you probably don't talk to too many people in a wheelchair about what bathroom they use or whatever, right? But although you might,
it's not high on the list. No,
it's still high on the list. So 20% of it is going to be very
there are some character specifics.
Yeah, there's some things and actually it's the 20% we want to get to a lot of the time to say, if I'm going to work with you, it's the 20% I need to. I need to know what are the things I wouldn't have thought about naturally, about, and that's what you've helped me with a lot. Lots of other people help me with getting that 20% of saying, right, I now understand where you're coming from. Because actually, the 80% is exactly the same. The issue that you have is the issue that somebody else has, is the issue that I have in a different way, whether that's.
And I think some of the challenges we often forget is the hidden side.
I won't wear a suit or whatever it is.
Whether you're a white guy or a white girl, often there's something that you have an anxiety about that you don't feel you can talk about. And to me, inclusion is about building a trust, giving people a voice, and being able to share something that matters to them in order to make them feel belonging. Because you know the stat: 2.6 years people stay in a company, and often people don't move on for money. They don't always move on for a new role. They move on often because they don't feel belonging. They don't feel included in their organisation. So they're looking for this new tribe and this dream of the next place will be better. Escape their boss, escape their culture, escape this feeling that they don't want to be there.
Yeah.
And whether that's you have a characteristic that is protected, whether that's just being a typical, ordinary, everyday person in society, everybody has something that makes them feel welcome and belonging. So inclusion is about making a culture that everybody's welcome in, whether you're disabled, trans,
whoever you are,
straight, white, whatever you may
wherever
be.
you are. So it could be a bullying, it could be age, it could be anything. So I think we just.
But the challenge I see is when I sit in employee resource groups talking D&I networks, is trying to get senior people involved in the conversation. It's all very well and good, people on the ground saying we want change, but unless you've got real C-suite buy-in, you're never going to change. And I always talk about this where it's a granite ceiling, whatever the terminology is, where if you can't go above the highest level of sponsorship. So if a company's not prepared to invest the board level time, mentoring programs for staff to build people on, or inclusive leadership and development, inclusive motivation, we're never going to change this.
That's brilliant. I think we probably need to end because everyone's arriving.
It's getting a bit noisy now. So, thanks, Bill. I really appreciate your time today.
You're welcome, and I hope all of you listen to me. Come to True Inclusion.
2nd of July.
2nd of July.
Union Jack Club at Waterloo, just opposite in Sandal Street, just opposite Waterloo Station. It's #True TRU Inclusion.
And in case you think the Union Jack Club was a bit Brexity, it's not that. It's not that.
It's the ex-forces club that I'm a member of because I'm ex-services. We've got capacity for over 100 people, and
we'd like you to be one of those.
We want you to be one of those people, and bring people along. And we're being very inclusive. It's a very accessible venue. We've got lunch, refreshments, and we just want to make you feel welcome. So look forward to seeing you there, and look forward to seeing you there, Bill. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.